So I'm kind of going through my videos right now, and I've decided that I'm gonna do a certain kind of pattern now, because I really should have done the daily vlogs for quarantine while in quarantine, and I didn't think about that at the time. Now looking back at it, that's really silly of me. Had I have done that, I would have known how much work there was actually to be put into those videos, because they're actually quite long. I thought they were all going to be short, like 5-minute vids, but they ended up not being that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to intersperse the videos, and I'm gonna actually put them into their own playlist, and then at the end I'll put all of them onto one large playlist in the correct order that they should be in. This will be quite the project, because I'm pretty sure I'll have a lot of videos that are going up. This video is really the day that I got out of quarantine. Now, there is a video gonna kind of be before this, which is me leaving the quarantine hotel, but I'm gonna actually let that one go to the end of the quarantine daily diaries that I do. And so this is after I left the hotel. My friend came and picked me up, and I went to his parents' house for a couple hours so he could actually interact with his kids, do what he needed to do with them. I had to leave so early that it just made sense for him to go back home and be able to get his kids ready for school, do that whole fatherly thing, and then come back to me, grab me, and take me to Seoul, which was about an hour away from where he lived, or where his parents lived. And he lived about 15 minutes away from his parents, so it wasn't like that was a crazy far journey. The main thing that I kind of want to go over here is the fact that my first meal out of quarantine is not going to be the chicken meal that is coming up. It's actually not even going to be I don't even think I have any footage of it. So the first two meals I don't have any footage of, because it was just me and my buddy. I didn't really want to interrupt what we were eating at that time, and I just decided that, you know what we're gonna do is just go ahead and eat and live like normal people. And I didn't take really any photos or anything, but if I do, I'll throw them up here. But the first thing I had outside of quarantine was a McDonald's BLT breakfast sandwich. And that was a bacon, lettuce, tomato breakfast sandwich that they have here in Korea. I don't think I've ever seen it in America. It was the set, so it came with a hash brown and a cup of coffee. I just grabbed that because it was quick and easy. He was like, hey, I'm gonna grab my parents some breakfast. Is McDonald's okay with you? Of course that's okay with me. Like, that's perfectly fine. Thanks for picking me up. So that's my first meal. I went to his parents' house, just started working really. And then his dad wanted to chat a little. So I had a great time chatting with his dad, learning about their family history all over the world that they've been traveling to, and how they're really well traveled. And it's not like a surprise to me anymore to find out like how Koreans kind of just, they do what needs to be done in order to get the job done. And that's kind of what I'm talking about his dad. Like, his dad traveled all over the world because of his work. And beyond that, when my buddy came, he picked me up and we went to a Chinese restaurant and had jjajangmyeon, and I forget what it's called, but it's sweet and sour pork is the English name of it. It's like tak something, I think, if I recall correctly, in Korean. But that was the second meal that I had. That was lunch. And then he dropped me off in Seoul, and it was a pretty decent ride. It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, which is kind of nice. I'm happy, and I hope that he got home pretty quickly without hitting any traffic. And trust me, after driving in Seoul now, it could get pretty bad. And so, that being said, it then leads us to me being here at my hostel right here, or my apartment rather. Don't know why I call it a hostel. It's an apartment. The first thing I did was actually laundry. So I actually have 2 hours of time loss pretty much, because it takes about an hour and a half for the laundry machine to actually do its thing, and then I hung all of it, so about a half an hour to get all my clothes hung, and trying to figure that out. And actually there's not enough hangers or space for me to hang clothes versus the amount of clothes that I did, which then taught me I needed to kind of rethink how much laundry I'm gonna do each time, like make the load smaller and do it more frequently, or find a dryer. That's another thing. Like, I found out that if I go to a laundromat and spend about $3 on drying, it'll dry my clothes to a sufficient amount to where I could throw them back into a suitcase and not be concerned about them. After that, I kind of looked at my map of Seoul to see maybe if there was something that I could do here. And what I decided to do was go ahead and kind of traverse Seoul Station, which is just right down the street from where I'm currently living. And the whole reason for that was twofold. One, I wanted to see how the station was set, even though I was here at that exact same station about 12 years ago, maybe a little less, maybe 10 years ago. And the big thing was like I said, I've driven in Seoul now. I needed to figure out where to rent my car, like where I was supposed to pick that up. I already had it booked. It was not in Seoul Station. I went up and down Seoul Station, went into the garage that's underneath Seoul Station, went all over Seoul Station, because I didn't really figure out how to navigate through Korea at this time yet. And once I actually was like, okay, wait, let me type in Lotte Seoul Station in Korean, which again was one of those reasons why I learned Korean while I was in quarantine. And so I typed it in, and sure enough, it actually pops up. It's outside of the station. I start walking outside of the station, I follow the directions. This is kind of where I learned Naver Maps and might not be the most accurate. I start walking down the street. I'm like, it's not here. It's supposed to be here. And I run into a French exchange student who's studying Korean here. And I ask her, hey, sorry to interrupt. I hope you speak English. Would you happen to know where a car rental place called Lotte is? And she's like, oh yeah, you know, I've lived here for 2 months now. I actually know exactly what you're talking about. It's right around the corner. It's about 100 meters down that way. I'll walk you part of the way. And she did. She walked me, and then she's like, you see that sign right there? It's the gas station sign. I'm like, yes. She's like, it's right in front of that. So just walk down. You can't miss it. It's to your right. And that's what I did. I walked straight down, and I found Lotte Car Rental, which I'm very glad I did, because that's actually even closer to where I'm staying right now than I thought it was. It was a very, very easy find, and it was just straight just right there. It was pretty crazy. And so after getting that out of the way, I decided that, okay, what else is in the general area? I'm losing time now, right? And it's me against the clock. And this is kind of funny how I'm going to be able to do most of this day in just one video, whereas most of my other videos, I've now planned them to be their own little like sections of wherever I'm at that moment. I get to my maps, and I'm looking, and I'm like, you know what? There is Seoul 17, I think it is, or 717. I'm kind of curious what that is. So it's right next to the station. Technically, they say you could walk there from the station. And the way I looked at it was, okay, I'm already at Seoul Station. Let's just go check out what this is. And sure enough, it's a park that's right at the very end of Seoul Station. And so I walk following Naver Maps, instead of going through Seoul Station and everything where you could actually reach it like via Seoul Station, it takes me this long roundabout way to come around. I have to find a way to get to this island in the middle of a really busy street. Then you go up these sets of stairs, and there it is. It is Seoul 7017. There you go. Seoul 7017. Walking along it, I just find out that it's really just a pathway that's a garden. It has like, it's just a greenway really, and it brings you from the east side of Seoul Station to the west side, I believe it is, or the west side to the east side. As you traverse from side to side, there's just all this art and greenery, and it's really well done and really well maintained. There's actually free internet there as well. I couldn't get it to work, but what I've noticed is that sometimes some of the free internet's not actually free. You have to like register or something like that. You have to do a little bit of work to get it. Sometimes it's just not worth the hassle, particularly because I have the mobile Wi-Fi with unlimited internet, so I already have kind of free internet anywhere, I guess you could say. I already paid for it rather, right? And so it brought me from one side to the other, and then I found out that there was like a whole pretty kind of garden area or park area where you could kind of go rest, and there's a cafe, and I went into that area and checked it out, and that was fairly nice as well. It's actually somewhere that I'd recommend anyone go if you had about a half an hour to an hour at Seoul Station and didn't really know what to do. It's a very, very easy walk. You just stroll around. There's some sort of market underneath if you wanted to go to it as well. There's what that has restaurants inside of it. There's restaurants all along Seoul Station that you could go to. Overall, it was a fairly interesting night, mainly because of the way it finished. So now I'm getting hungry, and I want dinner. And so I go to the market that I was talking about that has all the restaurants inside of it. And the first thing I noticed is that you need the barcode, the QR code, in order to scan in. I didn't know at this time that you could just write down your phone number. I was actually quite scared. What I've memorized now is my phone number and the area in which I live, Yongsan-gu. And so I could just write that down really quickly. I don't know what the other items mean. I know that there's supposed to be a date, a time in, and then like, do you consent to giving like your personal information, are you wearing a mask, and do you have a fever, or what your temperature is. It actually changes slightly from place to place, so that's why I'm never really sure, because I can't consistently see the same thing. The consistent thing that I see is the location you're from and your phone number. So I have those characters, like I see that, I write that. I go into the mart, notice that everybody's checking in. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. So I turn around, I leave, I go to the other restaurants, and they are like extremely expensive along the market area as you kind of leave. Whereas I think it was more of the shock of seeing how much the market stuff was and then seeing how much these other restaurants were. And so I just kept walking, and then so I pulled up Mango Plate, which is Korea's version of Yelp, I would say, and I went in to look at what was nearby, and I found a tonkatsu place that I wanted to give a shot. So it wasn't that far away. It was on the very south side of Seoul Station, so I actually walked a big loop around Seoul Station because I came from, I believe it is the west side, went up north of it, came back down south, and then went all the way back down to the south side of Seoul Station looking for this place. And I even crossed like some pretty crazy areas. And I will say the one thing that has gotten, like, I don't know if it's a brave thing or not, or stupid thing, but like dark alleys that I typically wouldn't go down in San Francisco, I have no qualms going down here in Korea. I just, oh, okay, I need to go down this alley, whatever, let's just go down. Like, you know, dark cloaked figures in the corner smoking cigarettes, whatever. I go down and I literally walk in a block like 3 times in a circle looking for this restaurant, only to find out that the restaurant has closed and it was never taken off a Mango Plate. So I'm like, okay, I'm starving and I just want to go home at this point. And so I'm like, I'll just find a restaurant on my way back. I mean, I'll go through the station. I'm sure I could hit up McDonald's or something. You know, whatever, if I have it twice in one day. I'm sure they have some dinner items that I've not had or can't find in America. I go into the Seoul Station only to see that McDonald's is like slammed. They have so many people in there. I'm like, oh, I don't want to wait. I'm like starving now. And so I'm just like, okay, on my way home, I thought I saw some restaurants. Let me go ahead and just walk home. And remember, I'm still trying to figure out how to get home at this point because I still don't have how to get to this place memorized yet like I do now. I was walking back and that's when I noticed the chicken restaurant, and that's where I went to go have dinner. So after dinner, it was too much food. I packed it up and I came home and I brought it home and threw it in the fridge. The chicken dinner will be in its own video, and that'll be kind of the third type of video that I'm going to be making. So there will be the quarantine daily videos, the travel videos, and then eating videos. And so hopefully that kind of makes sense in how that works. But really, that's how I spent my first day out of quarantine. I didn't do all that much. The second day is going to be a lot more tight, although I'm sure I'm going to have to do these like talking head vids to narrate parts of it every now and then. But hopefully it won't be too much, and I tried to do as much as I could. I'm really going through these videos now, and there's a lot to comb through. So keep that in mind, and I will see you in the next video.